All right. You guys are awesome. My wife recently got a bird feeder, and it's awesome. We were talking about it, and she was like, "Oh, it'd be so nice to watch the birdies eat, and then they get food. It's a mutual great thing." But then we loved it so much, she ended up getting 2 more bird feeders, and I'm here to tell you, don't do that. This is a bad idea. This is a terrible... They get so territorial. The more food you give them, it gets bloodier and bloodier. It's every day, it's like Apocalypse Now in our front yard, but with birds. There's tiny little trenches everywhere. There's just little hummingbirds playing taps on their tiny bugles. Blue jays being tortured for state secrets. It's awful. And the more you give them, the more they expect it. Every morning, you go out at 6 a.m., there are thousands of rows of birds just tapping their little tiny bird toes, putting their little bird watches like, 6 a.m., fucko! Where's breakfast? Yeah, it's turning up. We just have so much birdseed now. Our living room looks like a bunker for the end of the world. But we're only trying to save the birds, not us. I found out that mockingbirds can learn up to 200 calls or even sound. They can imitate car alarms. And the reason they think they do this, the females prefer the birds that have a larger repertoire with like imitations, right? Which is crazy. It's especially crazy because like I can do awesome bird calls, but if I do one in bed, my wife is dry as a bone down there. So I don't get it. I'm just like, caw-caw! She's like, nope. We're done. Can you imagine if that's what dating was like, just in the normal world? I mean, it's already bad enough for females, but oh my God, if just every guy just like rushed every girl. Hey, you want to see my impression of Jim Carrey from Ace Ventura? Oh, righty then. And then another guy's like, we got to get to the chopper! Like, oh, man. I have blown out my voice already. Sweet nectar of the gods. Oh, this is 100% true. This is so crazy. A while back, I worked at this pharmacy where you could get film developed. You remember real film? Where you get it developed? It was crazy. And people would come in, they would drop off their film, we would send it off somewhere, it would get developed, and we'd hand it back to you. And one day, this guy came in. And have you ever seen someone, and as soon as you see their face, you're like, nope, I don't like this person. I saw this guy walk in, he hasn't even done anything yet. I'm just like, we are done. He comes in, he asks for his film, I give it to him. You're allowed to look through your pictures. If you don't want some, you can, we'll buy them back, right? He's looking through his pictures, and then he just walks off and he leaves. And I get so upset. I'm like, this guy probably gets away with this stuff all the time. Not today. I jump over the counter. I call for backup at the register. I run into the parking lot. The guy is about to leave. He has his window open on the passenger side. I stick half my body in there. And I was like, hey, buddy, you want to pay for these pictures? And he very confidently looks me in the face and he smiles and he goes, nope. And then he starts reversing. But I am in half the car, I'm in the car. And I'm going with him. He's dragging me out into the street. I'm yelling at him the whole time, like, hey, buddy, you got to get in here. Nope. We get to a light. We go back and forth a little bit. The light turns green. He steps on the gas. He drags me. And we're going for a while, but then the more he speeds up, I'm just like, I got to tuck and roll. I tuck and roll. Luckily, I'm young enough at the time. My body's fine somehow. If I did it today, I'd be dead. And I get up from the ground, magically, out of nowhere, this old beat-up yellow Mercedes pulls up, slams on the brakes. The guy pops open his passenger side door, and he just yells, "Get in!" I get in the car, the stranger's car, and then we take off, and I'm like, "Follow that car!" It's like the worst action movie of all time. And this guy turns to me, the stranger in the Mercedes, and he goes, "What did that guy do?" And I go, "He stole $7 worth of photos." Let's get him. Now that guy's scared of me. We follow this guy all the way back to his apartments. And I get out of the car, and I turn, and I point to the guy that drove me there, and I go, "Don't worry, I'll take it from here." As if I'm doing this heroic thing. And the guy just looks at me like, "Yeah, you are definitely taking it from here. I am done. I am so scared of you." And the guy leaves. And then I start to walk. I see where the guy walked in. He's having a little party, and I'm walking up. I'm so mad. And then I realize I hate my job. Like, I don't care at all. I'm so upset that I have done all this that I leave. I walk back to work. But this is pre-Lyft or Uber. I just have to walk 3 miles back to, that's my lunch break. Like, I hated that job so much that sometimes I would, when somebody was like dropping their stuff off at the counter, I would duck down behind the counter, and when I heard them drop their stuff off, I would pop up with pantyhose on my head, and I would give them money from the register. I called it a reverse robbery, and people were so confused. So I don't know why I followed that guy. That was so dumb. I just went to the Alamo recently, and oh man, it was crazy. They had a bunch of the soldiers' uniforms on display, and the uniforms were so small. That must have been the most adorable battle ever. Yeah, we have eaten a lot of brisket since that battle. Like, it was crazy. I was like, "Were children fighting?" They're like a bunch of 8-year-olds. Just so cute. Bunch of rapscallions. Is that a thing? I don't know. This might be weird. I don't know. I hope I'm not the only one. Does anybody here love the smell of gasoline? Thank you. It's nice. I'll be filling up my car. I'm at the gas station. I'm like, that's nice. And sometimes I like it so much, I'll just pour a bunch on like a t-shirt or a rag and just put it to my face and just really take it in for hours. And I like it so much that I feel invincible. Like, does anybody else, right? You're still with me, right? It's awesome. It's broken up my marriage, it's right? You guys seem happy. This must be the new lady, but I love it. Let's end the show. Let's go do some gas together right now. With those snorts, you can really huff some good gas. What if this is just where we found out I had a real problem? It's just an intervention. All you guys are here to stop me from huffing gas. I do like the smell. But not that much. I'm a bit of a gambler. Last week I got a massage right after I ate a full Frito pie. Yeah. That is a fart joke. All right. This is the part of the show. It's one of my favorite parts. This is where we go around the room and we talk about our favorite genres of porn. Let's start with... No, I'll start it off. Cake farts. Anybody else? The gas offer for sure. Does anybody know what... Somebody here knows what cake farts are. Yeah. Okay. Oh, then here we go. I'll explain. It's kind of difficult to explain. It's layered, much like the cakes. It's basically just women fart on cakes. It's not that hard to explain. Or men, I'm sure. Or probably clowns. I'm sure there's all sorts of stuff farting on cakes. And it's the fun. I don't find it sexual at all. I think it's so funny. My wife and I watch them all the time. We just laugh. We're like, oh my God, there's a whole market for this. My wife and I separately were introduced by the same video, so I guess this is like the most famous cake farts video out there. The person that showed it to me didn't tell me it was porn. There's like, hey, watch this video. And I'm like, oh, what's this? It's just a fully clothed woman in a kitchen, and she looks dead on in the camera, and she goes, you know what I like the most? Again, I don't know it's porn. I'm just think, I don't know, puppies? And then she just goes, cake farts. And I'm like, okay, that's not, I don't know what's happening. And then she gets up on her kitchen counter. There's a cake there. She mounts the cake and just blasts ass. Just destroys this cake. It's crazy. I laughed so hard. Now, a couple weeks ago, my wife and I were at a restaurant. We're having a great time. And this woman walks in, and she's with the guy. It looks like they might be on a first date. It's a little awkward. And she sits down. I turn to my wife and I go, I think that's the cake farts girl. And my wife is like, oh, for sure it is. I have never been so starstruck in all my life. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like kind of paralyzed. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I have to go say something. And my wife's like, no, you can't go say something. It looks like they're on first date. I'm like, oh, you think she's ashamed of it? She shouldn't be ashamed. She is a queen. I'm like, now I have to go say something. And she begs me. She's like, don't say anything. And I was like, okay. I made a compromise. Like, I'll go over there. I'll say something, but I'm going to be real subtle about it. So I walk over there, and I was like, excuse me, miss. I just ordered some enchiladas. I'm a huge fan of yours. It would be an honor if you would fart on those enchiladas. Turns out it was not her. I am now banned from Austin's own restaurant, Matt's El Rancho, which is a huge bummer. I love their queso, the Bob's or whatever. It's so good. Such a bummer. A lot of you are gonna Google cake farts now after the show. You're gonna go to porn sites, and we're in Texas, so you have to show your ID and shit. It's a whole process. And all of you are gonna do it. And you're like, I gotta see it. It's awesome. Where do we go from there? Okay. I went to support a family member recently. I went to see my wife's young cousin was doing her dance recital, her junior dance recital. It's a big deal. We're excited to go and support her. And we show up, and we're at a high school. And as soon as we get there, my wife has to go use the bathroom. And so she disappears. And then a friend of mine walks in with his daughter. She's in the program as well. But he sees me. My wife and I don't have kids. And he just looks at me. I'm at this high school where a bunch of young, scantily clad women are about to dance. And he just goes, what are you doing here? And I was oddly nervous, even though I was there for the right reason. I just go, scouting talent. It was so weird. And I was like, oh yeah, we're here, we're supporting her cousin, and he was just looking at me like, I don't know. My wife comes over, she's like, oh yeah, we're so excited to support her, and he's still shaking his head like, I don't know, man. And then we go, we watch the program. She kicks ass. It's awesome. But middle of the performance, I'm hungry. My wife and I are hungry, so I go. You can buy like chips and stuff. We get Cheetos. The money goes to the school, and we buy Cheetos. But I now have Cheeto fingers, and I'm sitting middle of performance. I'm watching the girls dance, and I'm just rubbing my Cheeto fingers. My friend just looks over like, I fucking knew it. Friend still won't talk to me. No. She did great. I don't know how to end that joke. All right.